Hey everyone, TimaeuSS here and welcome to another Wuthering Waves video. So this is the CM Bros complete tier list, guides, team building as well as combo rotations. Now this is going to be a very quick individual character review. If you want more in-depth guides for all of these characters, let me know in the comments and I'll make them at release. First off, get these launch codes sorted because all of these freebies are just sitting there, so go ahead and redeem them in-game. As for the team building, please do note we have position 1, 2, and 3, with position 1 usually being the main DPS and position 2 either as a support or a character with short burst windows, and team 3 is just the healers and supports. You can see here we've got some of these very popular teams on screen, and let's just get started. Jiyan is the first rate up limited character in this game, and rightfully so because he is extremely powerful and very user friendly as well. All you have to do is come in, turn on your ultimate, and all of your attacks are now buffed by the dragons you can see on screen. Use your E off of a cooldown, and then for the rest of the time just spam your auto attacks, and it's even user friendly in the sense that you can just hold the left click button and it'll combo away by itself. Extremely strong. Of course, his limited weapon is going to be the best in slot, and his best partner Mort is also on his banner as well, so you'll have an easy time building his best in slot team right from the start. Next we have Encore, actually a very strong tier 0 DPS unit that is from the standard pool as well. However, for most of you guys this is only going to be a tier 1 or tier 2 unit because just look at her rotation. The perfect rotation as above is going to be QE into a teammate skill into E. When the secondary hit lands from E, you swap instantly, animation cancelling it, and then you swap back with the R, which is the ultimate, into E, and 4 auto attacks and a heavy attack into the secondary stage of the ultimate, into 4 auto attacks, 1 E, animation cancel with a dodge, and then a heavy attack. I mean, if this sounds way too much for you, then yeah, she's only going to be a tier 1 or tier 2 DPS. But the best part is that her teammates Sanhua and Baizhi are both free, and incidentally, her best weapon is actually YinLin's limited, but the standard weapon as well as the monthly card weapon also works. Next we have the Verina, the only 5-star healer in this game, and an extremely powerful support that will fit in pretty much every single team available. And all you have to do with her is jump in, auto attack 3 times, press E, press Q, and press R to ult, and then when she has that jump animation, use 3 more basic attacks and her QTE bar is full, and get out of there. Swap to your main damage dealers. She has an impressive 210 and max 240% resonance gain, which is insane and allowing your team to do more and keeping them alive. YinLin is our next tier 0 character, and one that's somewhat of a hybrid because she can be main DPS as well as sub DPS depending on the team. With the 5-star Calcharo, then she becomes a sub DPS but also dealing a massive amounts of damage. Her rotations are basically just going to be E into 4 base attacks, E finishing, and then you should have a max resonance, so you exit out after you use a heavy attack into R into Q, and after that, I mean, just like Calcharo, take over. And honestly, one of the best design in this game, and my goodness, you can even use the free character that is given to you, Yuan as the support. Sanhua is the last tier 0 character and one that everyone will get for free on day 5. She's actually best in slot as a sub DPS in slot 2 because she has a very short burst window, as you can see on screen. Her best rotation is going to be R into the ultimate, E with the Q followed up, and then swap out. Let your main DPS do the work, and before the ice disappears, swap back into her, long press heavy attack to explode the icicles, and then press E one more time and then exit out back into your main DPS. You can see here on screen we've just swapped in and we're about to ult right now. You can see here's the ult with a massive amounts of ice, and your heavy attack actually can explode your ultimate as well. So here we go, slices through, and the heavy attack explosion. Oh, look at that damage, absolutely beautiful. Starting us off in the tier 1 category, we got none other than the single target DPS king Calcharo. Now his rotation is quite unique. You can use his E 3 times in succession and then using heavy hit to trigger mercy. After that you use your ultimate with R, and then your basic attack gets turned into the death messenger. You use a 5 basic attack combination, and the last one can be animation cancelled with either dodge or another E, and you do that 3 times, so 3 times 5 of these combinations, and you can swap out to your sub DPS, in which case it's going to be YinLin or Sanhua, and they do synergize really well, and can use the standard banner weapon or even Jiyan's banner weapon for Calcharo, an absolute beast. Next, we've got the 4-star unit to Mortife. I'm not sure how to say his name, but he's basically Jiyan's #1 support. Is the best in slot to support Jiyan, and he adds bonus damage to your heavy hits as well. There's not a lot of things to say about him. He's not going to be your main DPS or one that's going to be showing up on the field often, because what he does is basically come in, A, which is basic attack, E, and then double A attack into E, and then use your ult if you have it, and then get out. That's all he does. He can have some Calcharo entrances and exits, outros to do some bonus damage, but you won't see much gameplay from him at all. But a very, very good support in the back for especially Jiyan. Next, we have YinLin, a 5-star DPS support unit that personally I'm not a huge fan of. Basically, you're not going to be on the field most of the time, and when paired up with a DPS queen like Sanhua, all you're going to do is basically come in at the opportune time, use R to enter buff state, and then use 5 base attack combos, press E, and then use an aerial to land attack and into a single Q press, and then swap out and let your main DPS do the work. But because he's a 5-star, of course, there's some synergies with Sanhua, and you can see that the ice damage buff coming out from LingYang is going to buff Sanhua even further. They both have quite short burst windows, so yes, use them wisely. YangYang is my favorite unit across both close beta tests because she does it all. You can shield, heal, and also have iframes to reflect enemy attacks, making her one of the best overworld characters in the game. However, later on, as we enter the DPS race stage of the game in towers, you will need multiple DPSs with short burst windows, and YangYang unfortunately does not do that. But her entrance with QTE and into a heavy attack, not waiting for the counter, with multiple basic attacks and a heavy hit into an R will allow you to clump all the enemies up together while dealing decent amounts of damage and letting your main DPS finish the job. YangYang is the free 4-star unit that everyone will get as part of the main story crew. Now, what's interesting is that if you don't have a sub DPS built already for the team, she is going to be the one-size-fit-all in the meantime. She's going to be able to clump the enemies together as well as deal some decent AoE damage while you try to fit the final piece into the team. You can see here that we'll swap in either with QTE or entry into an R ultimate to gather all the enemies, and then into another E AoE with the landing attack, and this allows you to deal some decent damage and clump the enemies together for a fast and quick finish. Last but not least, the final tier 1 unit is going to be the healer Baizhi. Now, as the only 2 healers, one of the only 2 healers in the game, if you don't have Verina, she is your go-to. You can cheese a lot of enemies by just running away a bit and then healing up, and then your team is ready to go. Her entry is going to be using her ult and then 4 basic attacks into E, into 2 basic attacks, into a heavy attack, and then get out, because by then your team should be well enough and healed up, and she doesn't really have any other cooldowns to offer in the meantime. So after that, just swap your team in, let your DPS do the work, and you can call upon Baizhi again when you need to have the heals. Overall, you know what, free is free. So yeah, those are the tier 1 units. Now personally, I'm not going to go over all of the tier 2 units. Of course, Jiyan is a very strong character, and in the right hand you can take 0 damage while keeping her almost low HP and deal so much insane damage output to the bosses. But this is the final breakdown of the CN tier list for the tier 0s as well as the tier 1 characters. I will leave a link down below if you want to take a look at any of these characters yourself, and also most importantly, if you want in-depth guides of each and every single one of these, I will do it when the game has been released, going over more importantly the weapons, the echoes, as well as the combo rotations in a slower and less condensed video. So let me know if you're interested in the comments, and thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the game. It's TimaeuSS here, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye now.